Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, I am ready to rock and roll this morning. A to Z. First, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Now, I have a lot of different perspectives about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I was struggling whether I should take it or should I not take it. But let's analyze this. First and foremost, it's my understanding that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has caused in the United States less than 10 blood clotting issues, and they think it might be in women, it might be related to birth control pills. And the percentage of the people that have had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that then have had a blood clot problem is like through the roof. It's like the percentage is like 0.1111. I mean, it's ridiculous. When have we decided that the standard of care in medicine is 1,000%? We would have no treatments. We'd have no surgeries. We'd have no medicine. I mean, I don't understand why they stopped the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because of that reason. However, here is some deep thought about it. What if there's something they're not telling us? I've seen the commentary out there. Nobody has said this. Are they using this as an excuse to stop the vaccine because there's something else really, really bad going on with it, or they're concerned about it? That makes sense to me because it makes no sense for them to stop the Johnson & Johnson vaccine over some women having some blood clots. Does it? Think about that. What is really going on there? I think it might be something. The other hilarious thing is all the promotion about take your vaccine, all the famous people, the former presidents, celebrities, everybody saying, Ohio, Clark Kellogg, everybody, this BS going on. Well, what are they going to say now? Wait a minute. All you told us this vaccine was safe. You halted it. What? And what about all the people that have taken the vaccine now going like, what? And what about all of us that weren't going to take the vaccine or were teetering whether we would, like, wow, boy, am I glad I didn't take that vaccine. What do they do now? Trump hit it out of the park. Now, Trump says this is part of a conspiracy to help Pfizer. Maybe, maybe not. But I know this. Trump did say one thing. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is now permanently crucified. There's no coming back from it, is there? Think about that. And nobody is asking this. I mean, I'm blown away. I don't get paid to do this. These national commentators across the board yesterday, not one person said what yours truly, the Bulldog, is saying. Is there something else wrong with this vaccine that they're not talking about? Scary stuff, considering how many people have gotten it. All right, the Daunte Wright case. First off, I want to say this. The city of Brooklyn Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul, you can't make this up. There was a story that Christina Rudder, what part of my crack staff found, dated August 3rd, 2020. Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center now stand as police reform model. This is a city that went through this process. It's a great model. 2019, black mayor. Now, I'm reading from this article, pretty interesting. While Brooklyn Park's work with the Joint Police Partnership has built trust between law enforcement and immigrants, Bruley said that the city hasn't had much success getting African Americans to participate in the advisory committee. Wow. What does this support? My idea that black leadership in this country don't want reform. They want the chaos. The political leadership wants the chaos. Also, on the front of the Daunte Wright issue, he was charged, unbelievable, this 20-year-old man. He and a second man, Imaj Driver, attended a party in 2019. The women allowed the pair to crash if they didn't have a ride home. One of the women went to withdraw $820 in rent money. Wright allegedly held her at gunpoint and demanded she give him the cash. Bail was set at $100,000 with orders no contact with the victims. It was revoked in July last year. Failure to not possess a firearm or ammunition. I mean, you put a gun to somebody and say, give me cash, you are a gangster. And this gangster broke away from the police. Now again, Potter's already resigned. She's got to go. But are you kidding me? I am not going to glorify George Floyd. I'm not going to glorify Daunte Wright. I'm not going to glorify him. What happened to them is wrong. But give me a break. Give me a break. Derek Chauvin defense started yesterday, and surprise, surprise, surprise. What did I tell you? I'm a prophet. I told you they were going to have an expert that says everything he did was proper police procedure. And that's what they're going to do. And by the way, it's what I've told you over and over again about experts and science and Fauci. You always at a trial have an expert for them and an expert. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. Fauci's not the... Oh, and by the way, I ran into somebody yesterday who is I would say he's a friend of mine. We're not super close, but he's a friend of mine. Smart guy. Good guy. And we share same politics. He says, you know, Eric, I think Fauci's just a complete fraud. I said, I think you might be right. Due process dies. Isn't it amazing how due process, which is all part of the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and it seems to be like it doesn't matter. We're going to pick and choose who gets it. I think I covered that a little bit yesterday, but I want to re-stress that in what's going on. Re-imaging policing. Don't you love these phrases they come up with? Re-imaging policing. What? Michelle and Barack Obama say in light of the, you know, just think about it. A 25-year veteran of the police force does something very stupid, mistakes a taser for a gun and kills somebody, tragic that it is, and that leads to somebody, across the country we have to re-image policing. It's absurd, it's stupid, it's dumb. Re-imaging policing. Kim Potter resigned. That came out after my show, so I'm just reporting that. You already know that. Gannon, the police chief, resigned. How awesome is that? Oh, by the way, isn't it interesting? We have a woman police officer shot. Is anybody analyzing that? This isn't a racist white police officer. Are they claiming Kim Potter's racist? Really? Where's the women groups defending Kim Potter? Kim Potter's a woman. Does anybody think Kim Potter has a racist bone in her body? No way in hell. Rob Reiner. Remember him? Meathead from All in the Family. Rob Reiner, producer. Makes some good movies. Rob Reiner says the Republican Party is now the party of white supremacy. I can tell you right now, Meathead, remember he was the real liberal guy in Archie Bunker's household. I think that was a true depiction of Rob Reiner. The things that come out of these people's mouths. I mean, what's my line? You can't make it up. Rashida Tlaib, the congresswoman, she says not only reimagine police, she says no more policing and no more incarceration. What? Try living in a society. No cops, no incarceration. I'm going to do a special about this for my weekend show that I think you'll find pretty entertaining. So I'll hold off further comment about that. Paul Rossi, this math teacher from New York, only makes $57,000 at his job. He says that he's published a blog post. The school was indoctrinating students with anti-racism ideology. He wasn't allowed to assign a book by a black conservative professor. He claimed he was publicly reprimanded for questioning the school's approach. Rossi wrote, white students are made to feel shame for being oppressors. He also claimed that minority students were taught they were morally superior. Spokesperson for school said Rossi would not be fired or disciplined for the post. Head of school said Rossi should choose appropriate venue to air criticisms. Well, I think the entire United States of America. I'm giving Oracle status to Mr. Rossi. Good for him. Status. Somebody let him know that he won. Brett Favre. Let's wait in. I love when old schoolers like this come out. Brett Favre says, enough of the politics in sports. Isn't it great when somebody has the courage to say what everybody's saying, and it's somebody high profile like Brett Favre? Are they going to call Brett Favre a racist? He is from Mississippi. He is from Mississippi. Brett Favre's racist. China's collecting Americans' DNA. What? That's what they say. I don't know how they're doing it, why they're doing it. Figure out a way to attack us with the next pandemic. I don't know, but I'd gladly give China some of my DNA to show them what I'm made of. Tiger blood. Governor Whitmer. Michigan is a disaster COVID. Worst state in the country right now in COVID. And White House is applauding her. By the way, she is a classic example of just, well, we got a woman governor. We got a woman governor. It's always about diversity at all costs. Good job, Michigan. I bet you she doesn't win re-election if she's entitled to. CUOMO. There's a story out that CUOMO, Andrew Cuomo, our favorite gov, says that he was like Sonny Corleone. I mean, I believe that. Come on, man. Cuomo exudes that thing. Mafioso kind of guy, big tough guy. So from now on, we call Andrew Cuomo Sonny Corleone. U.S. deficit, budget deficit. Now, let me explain this to all you that don't understand macroeconomics. 1.7 trillion budget deficit in 6 months. We're not talking about debt. We're talking about we spent in 6 months 1.7 trillion more dollars than we brought in. Let that sink in. Under Bush, I think we were 43, we ran like $500 billion deficits. 1.7 trillion. Inflation is way up, in part thanks to gas prices are up 9%. Folks, you don't want inflation to those numbers. Inflation is going to hit this country like a hurricane. You heard it first from here. I don't usually give stock advice, but I'm going to give you some investment advice. Buy anything that is a hard asset. Buy real estate, buy gold, buy silver, buy all those things whose value is going to go up with inflation, but you can hold on to them, see them, and feel them. That's my advice. Inflation's coming. There's only one way we can pay off our national debt: it's inflate the dollar. It's the only way it's going to happen. Iran, boy, this government, they're just tough. The Iranians have announced that they are increasing their uranium production at the fastest and highest rate ever. Yep. What's Biden going to do? Biden's going to, don't do that. He'll send Blinken, his new Secretary of State. Don't do that now. Come on, stop that. And speaking of this, Joe Biden allegedly called Putin when Putin said, you better move those warships at your own risk. So Biden apparently called Putin to de-escalate it and tell him to back off. Putin, maybe have peace talks. Putin says, nah, baby, nah. I mean, Putin right off the bat says that disrespects old Joe Biden. You know, did Putin treat Trump like that? Hell no. Treat him with respect. Joe Biden, what a joke. Joke. Want to start a war with Russia? Maybe that's a way to get out of an economic problem, right? Cincinnati Reds on the All-Star Game move. And I'm upset with Mark Hansel, the managing editor of the Bulldog Reports, because we posted an article that says, Major League Baseball decision to move All-Star Game from Atlanta impacts cities most people and businesses most. So I told Mark, I said, call the Reds, contact the Reds over and over. After about a week of berating them, we finally got a statement from the Reds. This is breaking news. I haven't seen this in any of the local news, so we're breaking some news here. In response to requests from Bulldog Media, Rob Butcher, Vice President of Media, issued this statement. The question was, what is the Reds' position about the All-Star Game being moved to Atlanta? This is their official statement. The decision to move the All-Star Game was made by Commissioner Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball. The Reds will support the All-Star Game wherever it is played because it's so important to baseball. We thank the Colorado Rockies and the city of Denver for agreeing to host the All-Star game to make sure this important jewel event takes place. And then Mark says, statement puts the Reds on the record. Well, guess what it doesn't say? It's a gobbledygook dodge. What is the Reds' position on moving the All-Star game in protest of Georgia's election laws? I got to ask all of you a question here in this conservative tri-state. Does anybody here think that Bob Castellini, the Williams brothers who own Western Southern, and John Barrett, who is the CEO of that company, Rob Butcher, and the whole Reds organization, do you think that they're liberal? Hell no. They're not liberal. But they are captive because they don't want the national media coming after them. So they're wimps and they duck the question. The Reds aren't answering the question. They're ducking the question. Do you agree that the All-Star game was a proper protest? Well, oh, that was Manfred's decision. Oh, we'll support the All-Star game anyway. Oh, no kidding. Phony. I just love calling them out. Dodge, dodge, dodge. All right. Some sad but also funny, I guess, if you're a single person out there having the time of your life. STDs are at all-time high. Does that shock anybody? By the way, that's another thing about our culture in the last 10 or 20 years. I mean, it just got taken over by the hip-hop culture. Hooking up, the Tinder thing, the STD thing. I think it's all a cesspool. Glad I'm married. By the way, I've had enough conversations with enough single people, especially my age. It's rough out there. Finding a good man, finding a good woman. Good luck. Rand Paul is going to have an opponent, possibly, the African-American who ran in the Democratic primary against Amy McGuire. Booker, not the same Booker from New Jersey, is allegedly looking to see whether he wants to run against Rand Paul. There's a fundraiser for Rand Paul this Friday at noon in northern Kentucky, too. But Rand Paul is going to have an African-American opponent. Rand Paul will smoke that opponent, whether he's black, white, green, or blue, in the state of Kentucky. Nikki Haley announces, I'm not going to run for president in 2024 if Donald Trump runs. Well, no kidding, Nikki. Boy, Nikki walked off the plank, didn't she? Powell. I've been saying this forever. Powell, the Fed chairman, has said that the biggest threat to this country is probably cyber threat. Besides the pandemic, I got to ask all of you a question. What do you think the odds of our electric grid cyber attack, come on, they already hit big companies, of taking this country down to its knees? It's why in our new house we have a full-blown generator, fireplaces everywhere, water, I mean, you name it, because it's coming. There is going to be something that hits this country in a big way. The Fed chairman says it. Ayanna Pressley, Congresswoman, you can't make this up, says you're racist if you do not support the cancellation of student loans. Let that sink in. But we have roads are racist, infrastructure is racist. If you don't cancel loans, you're racist. Everything's racist. It's kind of funny. Fauci, do you see this one? Fauci says that in years to come, we might need, can't make this up, booster shots. Booster shots for coronavirus. By the way, Will Smith moved his movie out. We reported that. Do you know that Georgia gives tax credits to these movies? People. So they like their tax credit money. The election law, we don't want that to be legitimate. Last but not least, Jason Whitlock is a sports reporter. Watch him all the time on ESPN. Good guy. Big heavyset guy. He's funny. He has railed against this sports, racism, woke culture, cancellation culture. Twitter blocked him. You believe it? He's a black guy. How dare you? I bet you they're calling him an Uncle Tom somewhere. This is the Bulldog. This has been a great Bulldog Reports. I know you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed giving it. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. I hope today is yours.